We're about to see the fastest pace of technological change in all human history, and it's going to happen in the next 10 years. And none of us are ready for it. We're seeing the internet is a network effect. We saw that with mobile phones. By 2030, the EU is going to reduce carbon emissions by 65%. So we're using old tools to value new things. We're seeing the internet is a network effect. We saw that with mobile phones, but there's very few of these we've seen in the past, but now we've got so many. By 2030, the EU is going to reduce carbon emissions by 65%. Within that mechanism is a whole green fund that's being funded by these carbon credits, and they look to reduce all gas-based, petrol-based cars off the roads almost entirely. I was walking through the street here in Cayman and I realized in the next 10 years, every single car on the road here is obsolete. Everybody you know, every single person on earth basically is going to have to buy a new car or two or three. I'm like, huh. And then you think every form of electricity is about to change. Everything. Because it's mandated globally now. So the adoption effects of the electrovoltaic revolution and the alternative energy revolution is real. So that's interesting. Then when we think about stuff like computing power, so once you've got more electricity, the next part of a digital revolution or this revolution we're in is you need more computing power. Moore's law was the old way, the chip. But now we have distributed computing power and edge computing. So what that means is somebody can rent the computing power of your mobile phone, your office computer, whatever, and pay you for it. Okay, that's fascinating because it massively increases the amount of computing power in the world. It also generates income for that computing power, so that's interesting. Then we've got artificial intelligence, which is now rolling out everywhere. It's not just on Shopify or Amazon or Facebook. It's everywhere, including in the biosciences. So, big data models, large computing power, and artificial intelligence is creating an acceleration in the rate of change of the genomics project and the understanding of all of that. It's also changing manufacturing to everything else. The next thing we've got is autonomous driving. That's real as well. It's now not something in the future. Yeah. I mean, Waymo, the Google project, is already got cars out and Tesla's working towards it. So that's complete change. And then there's a whole bunch of these. There's robotics, virtual reality, the online metaverses. All of these things are all coming exactly at the same time. And they're all adoption effect models, network effects. So they're all exponential to the upside. And we're still looking backwards and not forwards. I think we're going to go into a structurally deflationary world. And the more we adopt currencies like Bitcoin, I mean, everything deflates versus Bitcoin right now.
True.
Right? I mean, everything. Yeah. You wait 3 weeks to buy a car and it's 30% cheaper in Bitcoin terms, right? That's what deflation is. That's why people hold Bitcoin, because all assets deflate versus Bitcoin. I think we are going to a deflationary world. The issue we've got is that wages haven't gone up in real terms in 40 or 50 years, while assets have gone up. And this is the issue with printing of money. Also, the wage part of the economy is globalization, too many people in the labor force, baby boomers plus millennials, globalization, the rise of technology, all of these things have an impact on wages. So I also think universal basic income is coming. And is it directly funded by government? Or is it funded, for example, by your attention on the digital economy? Do you get paid to watch adverts? Well, that's coming too. So, I mean, I don't think there's an inflation in our future. I think we're going to live in a structurally deflationary world. We will continue to see asset price inflation for the time being until that eventually stabilizes over time.
So how does your portfolio look right now? What's your advice for the audience?
Obviously, I was bullish on emerging markets because it's the time in the cycle. I don't think the dollar goes significantly lower. I think it probably range trades because all of the central banks do not want a strong dollar or a weak dollar. They just want everything to stop moving. the no volatility world of interest rates and currencies is good. So that's very good for emerging markets who've been undervalued over time. But now you're going to go to a step change. You're going to take poorer economies, you're going to throw in Starlink satellites from SpaceX and 3 other providers that gives everybody Wi-Fi connectivity globally. You're throwing in 5G. Everybody's got a mobile phone now. And then you're throwing in digital currencies, the ability to work digitally, and all of this other stuff I've talked about, straight into emerging economies that are still building a road network. You're going to explode growth. You'll see it in India particularly. That's one of the countries that's really embracing, yes, they're fighting crypto, but they're really embracing a digital revolution. China has done so, and we're seeing it in a lot of countries. So emerging markets are going to see step changes. So this is very good for them. So how do I allocate capital now? It's easy. Right now, there's only one asset to own. It's crypto. It's eating the world. It's outperforming everything. So it makes no sense for me to own anything else. Now, that won't last forever. As we know, there's a cycle that comes with crypto. There's points, and that's getting me interested in all of these other things. I recently tweeted about ARK, the Cathie Wood ETF. Everybody hates it. Why? Because it's gone up a lot. Oh my God, it's a bubble. Oh my God, it's a liquid. Okay, what is it? Step back from all of that, of all the people fighting the narrative. It is basically an asset allocation to exactly the themes I've talked about. Yeah. And there's very few people who've done that, who've even seen it. So it has a high probability of working over time. So I like that. That's a nice way of getting this. I like EU carbon credits, the ETS system. There's a futures contract. There's also an ETF that trades on it, because we know everybody is going to have to green up. Yeah. So that's coming. And then it's about looking at these sectors and figuring out, okay, what is the best way of playing, the EV revolution? What, is it Volkswagen? I think it might be. Volkswagen's a phenomenally good company, and they're massively underpriced versus Tesla. But if you and I know that every single person has to go and buy an EV, well, VW is going to be in the middle of that because they've been working hard on the technology. Okay, that's interesting. Biotech, that's harder. You need to know but maybe you just buy an index. I don't know, but all I know is right now it's crypto, but we're going to have a whole bunch of things that look like crypto, i.e. do this. And you have to go and look at everything in the world on a log scale, because this is going to be the exponential era. Yeah. It's not the era of mean reverting, normal trend. Everything is going exponential.